All right, without further ado, I think we'll get started. Welcome everyone to Cue the Future, Navigating Internship and Assistantship Opportunities. This is sponsored by USITT. Um, go. Um, I'm Damara Cabrera, and myself, Avery, and Jennifer are members of the Ideas Committee within USITT. And we specifically, our subgroup focuses on internships and assistantships and ways to make them more equitable and accessible. Um, we are also joined by Frankie. Would you like to introduce yourself, Frankie?
Yeah, hello. My name is Frankie Charles. I'm an Afro-Cuban American trans man originally from a northern suburb of Chicago. I received a BFA in theater technology from the theater school at DePaul University. As it pertains to this session, I am currently one of the board mentees with USITT. I have been a gateway mentee and a gateway mentor. As well as I currently serve on the strategic planning committee in my role as a chair of the regional section serving New York City and Metro New Jersey. I've also been a part of the Santa Fe Opera Stage Crew Apprentice program and the Minnesota Opera Resident Artist program as their assistant technical director. There we go. Okay, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Frankie. All right. And these are our wonderful panelists for today. Frankie, if you'd like to take it away from here.
Yeah. All right. Margaret, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Margaret Shigeko Starbuck. I use she and they pronouns. I'm a, director, dramaturg, and artistic producer and arts administrator. I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm the literary manager at Boston Court Pasadena currently, as well as a freelance director working regionally in Southern California and across the US. Um, and should I talk about internships, assistantships that I've had? Is this the time to do that?
Yes, go ahead
Yeah,
and
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
introduce
yeah.
which ones you've
Go
had.
on. Yeah, educational background, internship,
fantastic.
assistantship. Go ahead.
Okay, I got my BA in theater at UCLA. I At UCLA I was a scenic design focus, although I have since transitioned into directing. Across the last 10 years, I have had sort of like innumerable internship assistantships. Like a quick sort of highlight reel. I was a props intern at Sacramento Music Circus. I was a scenic carpentry intern at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival as part of their fair program. I have assistant directed at Pasadena Playhouse and the Geffen Playhouse and the Getty Villa. I just completed the Phil Killian Directing Fellowship at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I also was a literary intern at the Geffen. I've been a casting intern. I've done many different kinds of internships and assistantships, but that's a quick little rundown.
So, thank you. Jade, do you want to go next?
Um, I'm Jade or Kelly. I go by Jade professionally in the performance side of my career because I'm a performer and a voice actor for a studio here in Houston and have been for several years now and audiobooks as well. But I am also very much a builder. So I've been doing costuming for several years now, costuming for bands and musical groups and for theaters across the US, and got my bachelor's and my master's at Texas State University. I have been working at the Texas Renaissance Festival in their costume department for 6 years now. And I would like to say that that started as an internship, but as soon as they saw what I could do, they said, "We need you now." So I have been there for a while, and yeah, really great place.
Thank you. Alexandra.
Hi y'all, my name is Alexandra Haddad. Friends call me Alex, so call me Alex. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a director and an intimacy choreographer and all-around theater artist based out of New York. And highlights of assistantships, internships include recently hanging out with Margaret at OSF as one of the fair assistant directors in the 2025 season, alongside Jennifer too. And in 2023, being the directing fellow at the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival through SDCF, the Foundation for the Directors Union, SDC. Um, and I'm also freelancing in other capacities, primarily as an intimacy and fight choreographer on productions alongside the East Coast, both at academic institutions and also often off Broadway in New York City.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Deborah, you're up.
Hello, my name is Deborah. I go by Deb. In the theater department, they always call me Deb or Debbie. I am currently a student right now. I just finished my AA program at East Los Angeles College. Throughout that time, I've been participating in so many productions in my school, assisting, either crewing, either scenic painting. I dabble a little bit in everything, scenery and lighting, but my focus is mainly lighting design. Yeah, so my experiences are all at East Los Angeles College, and now I am transferred now to Cal State Long Beach to earn my bachelor's degree. And currently, the internship I am in is LA Opera, and the focus there is mainly, lighting design, and of course, being really responsible in the productions. My professors really recommended me to go on in these internships, so that's why I am now here today.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Let's go into it. How did you find out about your internship or assistantship? And does anybody want to go first? Alex?
Sure. Yeah. So, the two assistantship opportunities that I've had are very interconnected. So I'll start with the 2023 assistantship that I had. The title was fellowship, but I was serving as the assistant director for one of Hudson Valley Shakespeare's productions. And I applied for that through my knowledge of SDCF and their opportunities, which they release several times a year. And there were a variety of opportunities, but I only applied to one because I felt very excited about the director whom I would be assisting. Her name is Amanda Daynert, and I felt really connected to the kind of work she did and her process. And when I booked that opportunity, I was really excited and had a great time working with her and being mentored by her. And so in 2024, she contacted me about an opportunity to assist her again in 2025 at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I was not separately aware that there were opportunities on the West Coast at all for people who are not based there. And so the fact that they offered travel and housing was really significant, and allowed me to apply. And so Amanda, by being my mentor, sort of invited me and let me know about the opportunity. And I applied specifically to work with her. However, there are lots of shows that OSF does in a given season, and so applicants typically apply to be considered for several shows in that season. I was sort of a unique case this year.
Cool. Thank you. Margaret, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah. So, um, for the most recent fellowship, where I got to know Alex and got to hang out with Jennifer, that was a for 5.5 month long fellowship in which I was assistant directing 2 shows at OSF and then shadowing their artistic staff. Um, I found out about that through their website but it was sort of because I had done the carpentry internship 10 years ago. Um, that I had been sort of periodically checking back in on OSF's educational and apprenticeship program, which is called FAIR, which I think stands for fellowships, assistantships, internships, and residencies. Um, and because I had participated in the FAIR program 10 years ago, and then the FAIR program went dormant from 2019 until this year. And so I was sad to see it go away. And I kept sort of periodically checking back in to see, like, oh, are they ever going to restart this? And then last summer I saw that they had, and I was excited that they had restarted it and applied for the fellowship. Um, when I found out, I don't actually know how I found out about the carpentry internship, other than that I had gone to OSF as a high school student, on a field trip, and I think maybe had been told at the time about the FAIR program. Um, Other assistantships and internships that I've discovered through myriad different sort of mechanisms at UCLA. And I think a lot of universities can kind of help hook you up with internships through the theater department. So the opportunities that I had both as an intern and an assistant at the Geffen Playhouse were because of UCLA and because of the proximity of the Geffen to the UCLA campus. Many of the other directing assistantships that I've gotten were through networks of connections, people recommending me for opportunities, sometimes through cold emails to directors to ask them if they would like an assistant. But usually because somebody had a good experience working with me and then recommended me to assist somebody else. The music circus internship that I had as a props intern, like in 2014, I think I found out because I grew up near that theater. I'm from Davis, that theater's in Sacramento, and I was looking for opportunities that were nearby where I was going to be at home for the summer. So I guess to summarize, I have sometimes found opportunities on organizations or theater company websites just by doing my own research, sometimes through my university and sometimes through my network.
Thank you. Deborah, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I should have gone first because I already talked about the internship I'm in. But yes, so just asking around, I found out about this internship because I really wanted to get like into work and get that experience outside of school. So I asked around. My school has very good resources of how to apply to other internships, but also being recommended was a big help by my professors, and showing them what I could do um, gave them that opportunity of like recommending me to LA Opera. I am currently working with Jennifer as well, and it's been a great experience working there, learning a lot. But also, yeah, like just by hearing and asking around, you should just go for it and apply to those internships. Yeah.
So, thank you. Jade, do you want to go? You want to?
Yes. So I absolutely agree with Deborah. That's kind of my story too. I, first of all, am a researcher. So if you're the city that you're in or the city you think you're going to be in, research, research, research. I mean, look up all the theaters, email people, go see their shows, talk to people afterwards. It's all about that, because if you are coming out of this where maybe your mentor doesn't help you, or if they do, but maybe it's in a particular location that you're not interested in, there's so much work that you can do to help yourself. And then from there, say, go to your mentor, say, hey, I'm thinking about this location. Who do you know? And, do you know a person who knows a person who knows a person? And so on from there. Because a lot of my opportunities that I've found, I dug for them myself and went and talked to people. I went and saw shows. I asked the questions. I said, hey, are you looking for somebody? Because I have the skill that you probably might be looking for. Whether that's, a particular niche in your department, like, if wigs, or if you really do well at hats, or if you're really good at hanging lights, but you don't necessarily want to design lights, those are all things to say, this is what I can do? Who do you need, or just to put yourself on call so that they remember you for the next times. A lot of my opportunities came from that. And then also coming in as a performer and saying, I can also do the tech side. So even as a performer, if you have any of those skills for the tech side, they're going to be valued. And it's especially going to be valued that you can do both. So yeah, networking and just letting people know the skills that you have. Do not be afraid to talk about yourself.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, next question. When do you feel it is appropriate to apply for an internship or assistantship? Is there like a sweet spot of time, life experience gained? What are y'all's thoughts?
I will say I think anyone who feels like they would benefit from an internship or an assistantship at any time should apply. I don't really feel like it's like I think sometimes we think like, oh, internships or assistantships are for early in your career or something like that. And I think maybe that can sometimes be true, but I very purposefully, after sort of taking a break for 5 years from assisting or interning, and I had like a full-time job as an associate artistic director, I was freelance directing, and then I intentionally decided to go back into a fellowship program as an educational opportunity to get to be in other directors' rooms again, to sort of compare and contrast what other professional directors were doing with what I had been doing myself. And I thought that ultimately was really valuable. So I think also I at OSF, a number of the assistant directors were folks that were sort of pivoting into directing after having a long career as an actor. And so some of the other assistants were in their 30s or even like 40s, 50s, and they were pivoting. So I don't really think that there's like a designated, age or timeline for when people need to should or shouldn't be interning or assisting. I obviously there's sometimes like financial implications of whether you can afford to go back into an opportunity that might be paying less and might be more educationally geared. But in I think it's like if you think that you have something to gain either educationally or building networks or skills or whatever from an internship or an assistantship, I think great, go for it, apply for it.
Just like one
And
thing to add to that, I really believe in the idea of like don't close doors on yourself. So if there's an opportunity that you are excited about, don't in advance say, I don't have exactly what they're looking for, so I shouldn't apply. Of course, there are certain opportunities that are designated for people of a particular background, or if they're like really clear that we need a minimum amount of years of experience and you have no professional years of experience, there are certain considerations to make. Um, but don't preemptively close doors on yourself. And if there's an opportunity you feel really excited about, reach out to them and ask like, this is my situation. I'm really excited about this opportunity. Do you think it's possible for me to be considered? Because I know, especially earlier on in my career, I would close doors preemptively. And in fact, for the SDCF opportunity I had in 2023, I thought that because I had a personal obligation on like one day of my 6 week contract, that I shouldn't apply. And when I got the interview, I was like, oh my gosh, I have this one day conflict. I should just rescind myself from consideration so I don't waste their time. And the Danny Barlow, who used to run SCCF, called me and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "But I have this one day conflict. I shouldn't be considered." And she was like, "That is fine. That's okay that you have a one day conflict on a 6 week contract. Just tell them, and they can factor that into their decision making." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So don't close doors on yourself. Ask questions, but like if you're excited about something, you should see if you might be a good fit.
Kelly, Debbie, any follow-up thoughts?
Yeah, I to add on with Alex, it's true. Don't hesitate. Just go for it. Ask around. Just like everybody, when you communicate, it's very important to communicate because they would understand whether you have conflicts or anything. Your internship is a time of learning. It's a time of understanding, the professional world. And it's okay to ask around. It's okay to still be learning, but also doing your work. But also, it would be a great time for you to be like, okay, I'm ready. Having that mindset, like, I'm ready to go for it. And not, like she said, like, don't close the doors on yourself. Just keep going, look for that opportunity, and just already start wanting to work. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say similar to Margaret, there's really not a when time. It's when you spark your interest that this is what you want to do, and that's the time to go. That's the time to go. If you're like she said, if you're in your 30s and 40s and you want to pivot to directing or suddenly you want to do tech, go do it. Just find the opportunities because I feel like we're always looking for more people. We're always looking for more people, and it doesn't matter your age or your like anything of that. It's just people, yes. People, yes, and always. So there's not a time. It's just when your interest is there and the passion is proving itself to be true, go and do the thing.
Yeah, and I'll echo just from personal experience, reaching out directly, those cold emails, you never know who's gonna like you catch them on a good day and they'll respond because they love the idea of having inspired you. So don't don't hesitate, just go for it. Um, Next question. Sometimes assistantships and internships are more like educational opportunities where you work and learn at the same time, and sometimes they're more focused on work. Would you say that your experience leaned more towards one or the other? I've certainly been in both situations.
Speaking from my experience, the two opportunities I've had have been more focused on work.
Hmm.
But something I like to say is you can make anything grad school. So, whatever experiences you might have, if you take them seriously as learning opportunities, you will get educational value out of them too. So, especially if you're in a more work-focused opportunity, timing it well, but like asking questions of your mentors and like asking folks to get coffee or like trying to really like learn about how structures are run at every institution you're at. You can really, really get a lot of value out of it. But if you're in a more work focused role, being proactive in ensuring that you make it an educational opportunity for yourself as well as a networking opportunity is really valuable.
But you're right. You're onto something that there's like a fine line if it's a very work focused situation. Does anybody else have any follow-up thoughts?
I think there is a point that you mentioned, Alex, where it's like even in your work environment, there's things that you can learn. And yeah, every theater is different. Every festival, every event, every production is going to be different. So there's always something to learn, even if it's something you already know how to do, but this theater does it differently. Or I'm so sorry. I've got a cat.
Hi.
That's Jasper. Um, so yeah, and I think there's also so much you can learn about yourself even in your work focus environment. Learning what you can do. So that's like a different type of learning environment where it's learning what you can handle and learning what you can produce and also seeing um your work itself because we sometimes forget how far we've come and how much we have already learned. And even though we are always growing and learning, we get in the moment and we think, oh, it could be better, or it could be this, or it could be that. But we forget to appreciate the fact that we're able to do it. And we've already learned so much and we're still going to grow. And as much as my experiences have mostly been work focused, there still has been so much that I've learned, especially about myself of what I can do, and then how to work with a team and how different teams are gonna be, a different way to work with. Um, so I think it's educational in a different sense, even in the work environment. It's not just learning the craft, it's learning the craft in the space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll just like double down on what Kelly just said. I kind of feel like I'm like constantly learning, like even like in my job, like, just like every day, I feel like I'm constantly learning. And especially in theater, I think it's like you learn by doing a lot of the time. Like, so when I was a props intern and a scenic carpenter intern, I was being given projects. Like I was like, build this flat or like make this vase or whatever. But I was having to sort of sometimes guidance, but like sometimes just like through my own like, well, okay, I got to figure it out now, right? So like here we go. And then I would do, however much I could do, and then often there was a supervisor or a mentor or somebody that I could turn to and ask a question if I needed help learning a specific skill. But I really believe in like learning on the ground and on the job is, especially in theater, is like so valuable because there's so much you can learn just by like getting your hands dirty and jumping in and um actually doing the job, rather than, I think, like sometimes like, no, I like obviously also I loved my college experience. Like I'm not like, I love education, but I also think like there's only so much you can learn theoretically about like how to do a practical skill. And theater is such a like practical collaborative art that has to be done with other people and like with your body. uh, that I really do think it's like just doing it is a great way to learn. I will say my most recent experience at OSF as a directing fellow, I did feel like was more educational than work focused. It was a lot of observing, rather than actually getting to like necessarily put things into practice, which was a new experience for me because I was much more used to assistantships and internships where I was just being asked to actually do the thing. And so I think it was also it was an interesting new good muscle for me to build to like figure out, okay, what really can I learn just by observing and watching and being in the room but not participating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Was in a moment like that with the Minnesota Opera. Whenever we walked into the presenting theater, I couldn't touch anything. So that was my educational moment in real time. Um, cool. So many of us take internships and assistantships for the experience in that position, but also for the opportunities that may come out of it. Where has the internship assistantship led you? We were speaking of doors earlier, so what doors were opened as a result? I will call on somebody if nobody wants to go first. Debbie?
Sure. Um, yeah, so um, I do believe that because I didn't have the opportunity to talk about that, so I'm a little off. But yeah, so like, learning throughout in the opera, like for me was more like learning more for what I work. And I do believe that your work ethic is what's going to help you build up these opportunities as well. Yes, you're learning, but also your work ethic, the way you are, will give you those opportunities to go on. I've had because of this internship, I have the opportunities to also work with my mentors, work with other people, work with people that have, more experience in me because of the way I am and the work ethic that I have in just in myself in general. So yeah.
So sorry to have skipped you there.
It's okay. I was like, oh,
No,
it's fine.
but do feel
Yeah.
free to lead us into the next question if you
Mhm.
have anything to add there.
Yeah. Um,
Is
yeah,
there
so
anything you're hoping to come out of your current position with?
yeah, so like I said that out of what I'm currently in is leaving me the opportunities to work with other people who have the experiences because because of my work ethic, I'm able to, like have the experience to work at, let's say, like a high school, work at anywhere. I had an opportunity to work at because of the opera. I had an opportunity to work at a high school and work there and just, be a designer. Unfortunately, I do have schedule conflicts, and time is consuming, but you will get those opportunities because of the person you are and the person and how you work in that environment. Yeah.
Very well put.
I think I mentioned that one of the internships I had like led to the next one. But something I might add just as color to this is I did not book a single like theater internship in college. I applied for a ton. I went to college in New York, but it just didn't work out. And so I was like totally panicking. However, I in college, my like campus job, I worked as a tour guide at my school, which was like a paid part-time job that students could have, and you were required to do admin hours in the admissions office too. And the reason I bring this up is because I ended up interning with them for 2 summers and doing like administrative, like completely unrelated to the performing arts internships. And those administrative skills, I think, are like the only reason I ended up booking my first job once I graduated from college, which was as the artistic assistant like an arts administrator at a regional theater in New Jersey. And so, despite the fact that I was like, I've totally flopped, I haven't booked any theater internships, it was actually like the opportunities that I did book that were unrelated to the performing arts and entertainment still gave me really valuable skills that I could use to market myself towards theater jobs in the future. And so if you are in school and you're like, I haven't booked, the one theater internship or the 10 theater internships that I've applied for. Does that mean I'm like never going to book anything? Like, not at all. Whatever experiences you might have, like retail, food service, those things, administrative stuff are all still valuable. So if you're like a babysitter or a nanny and then you want to apply to work in an education department at a theater, those skills do transfer, and there are tons of transferable skills from other areas of work that you might have. And I was still then able after graduation to book theater internships and to get those educational opportunities too.
Yeah. What is meant for you will find you. So if it's not the first thing you've applied for, certainly will come later. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a very direct like pipeline of uh, three directing assistantships leading to a full-time job at a theater. And the my cat is now also present in the frame. Hello. So I cold emailed a director who was working in LA who I admired, and I said, "Do you need an assistant?" And she responded, and I ended up assistant directing for her. And then she liked working with me so much that she asked me to assistant direct again 3 more times, basically over the course of like the next year. So we worked together very consistently for like a year and a half. On all of her directing projects. And then she's the artistic director at Boston Court Pasadena, and she ended up needing to hire an artistic associate. And when that position came up, I interviewed and got that job, and then that led to me ending up becoming the full-time associate artistic director at Boston Court. Then I left to go to OSF for 5.5 months this year, and now I'm back there as the literary manager. So it really was it really was like this industry really is all about like relationships and network and building as Deborah was saying, demonstrating a good work ethic and like really doing a great job when you have the opportunity, and then those folks can ultimately probably get you other jobs. But also Jessica has ended up recommending me for other gigs, like directing jobs or other assistant directing jobs over the last like 6-7 years. So it has generated lots of work.
Yeah. Speaking of how small the world is, I saw that you've worked with Lisa Portes. I worked on a couple of her shows in college. If you see her, say hi.
Oh, cool. I will.
Kelly, do you want to close us out with this question?
Yeah, sure. Just kind of piggybacking off of Margaret, it is about connection. The most recent production that I built for the costumer and director, I had reached out that for a totally different opportunity with them. And they started talking about how, they needed an extra person in the shop. They really needed someone who could build and all these things. And I'm hearing what they're saying, and I'm going, I can do that too. And so even if you apply for a different opportunity, once you get in conversation and you get to talking, even in that interview, and again, talking about what you can do, what you can offer, and what they might need, or even if you just hear that they need something, just speak up. It can only benefit you to speak up, because they might say, "Oh, well, this we don't need right now, but we could use you right this second for this." And then same thing in that conversation, because of who I had worked with before, that director knew someone, that person that I worked with before, and so they said, "Oh, well, then I absolutely know that I can trust you in your work because with you worked with so and so." So, well, that makes me feel better. So it's just, you just never know what that's going to lead to. You could apply for this, but they want you here and you worked with this person, so they're like, "Yeah, let's hire you yesterday because you worked with this person." So, yeah, networking. Speak up.
Thank you. Okay. So we got one question in the chat. Oh, there we go. Two more. What do you wish you had known ahead of time? What questions do you wish you had asked in the application, interview, or hiring process? I've been through a process where they interviewed nobody and I didn't know until I quit. So lots of learning happens. We also have about 12-ish minutes to get through.
I'll just say always ask about housing and pay. uh, I think it's really important to just be clear about what are the what are they asking you to do, making sure that you're not, getting into a situation that's going to end up feeling exploitative, making sure that you're going to have the resources you need to actually like do the opportunity without like sacrificing too much of your own life or time or money or whatever. And and also getting specific about what the housing situation is going to be. Like, is it shared housing, is it individual housing, can you have guests, can you have pets, like getting some details about where you're going, who you're working with, how much money you're being paid, or is it for credit or whatever, or just like all of the logistical detail. Transportation, like, are they giving you a bus pass, etc. Like, those are all really important details to know before you commit to an opportunity. um I will also say, like, I have sometimes asked particular questions and been assured of things, and then when you get on the ground, things are not exactly what people said they were going to be. So, even sometimes when you do ask the right questions, sometimes there's still challenges that arise in the moment that you then have to deal with.
Yeah. But going back to a previous question there, like y'all mentioned knowing your limits. So knowing your professional limits in those situations is also very important as well. Um, Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's important to know your limit as well, and like know that what you're going to apply for, you're okay with, and understanding, you know, what they need from you. I guess that's like one of the questions that I would have like asked them is, what is it that you need to do? And I guess just like speak up a little bit more and just like know that there's no like right or wrong answers. Like, it's okay to like ask like what is going to go on, like for example, Margaret said, like the housing or whatever goes on, it's okay to ask those questions.
Yeah, thank you. Kelly or Alex?
I mean, I think Margaret hit it on the head. Those are all the questions you should ask, like we have this stigma around talking about money. But our time and energy and talent is valuable. So we should also know, what to expect, and then they should also know what to expect out of you, right? If they say, oh, well, we need to do, and this happens all the time in the costumers world where they want you to do above and beyond what is actually that position should be doing, and for like this much. And so knowing your worth and going, that isn't going to work for me, or laying down some ground rules of like, I can do this chunk of that, which is what this position technically is. And the rest of it, I would, recommend you get another person. So, and that also depends on the theater and the size and their budget, but I would say also, yeah, asking questions of what all this is going to entail, because they may call you a designer, but they're also going to have you in charge of wardrobe in the shop and this and that and all these other things. And it's like, that's actually not what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, and being okay with saying that, being okay with saying you're asking for designers, so this is what that means, kind of deal. Um, but yeah, being really clear, asking questions, not being afraid to talk about money and what the expectation is. Because I feel like sometimes we get weird about money and, oh, but yeah, I can do that. So it's okay. I'll just, work 100 hours a week and I can do it. Because if any of you are like me, yeah, I can do it all. That doesn't mean I should. So there's those limitations of, just because you can doesn't mean you should, because we'll be exhausted and then our output isn't going to be quite what it could be. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask those hard questions.
I can say from like a directing standpoint,
Yeah.
asking who is my supervisor? And if you are assisting for a particular director, um, asking to meet with them before you're on site, I think would have been really valuable. In my case, I had a prior relationship with that person, but if you're getting match made, like if you're going to a festival and there are multiple shows happening and you get put on one of the shows, but the person who interviewed you is not necessarily the person you're assisting, getting a chance to connect with your supervisor or mentor or whomever will be the main point of learning and connection and leadership before you get there, so you can get on the same page about what they want from you and like what their vibe is and how you can be best prepared, um, is not always the structure that's in place, and I think would be really valuable.
Thank you, Alex. All right, we're gonna segue into attendee questions. We got one in the chat um, about international or being international and applying for internships or assistantships, experiences regarding visas or anything related. Um, I don't think I mentioned this at the top, but at my day job, I work for Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts in their education department, and we've had to deal with visas recently. The general counsel has been unhelpful because, yeah, but. There are some programs that I am happy to share. There was one in particular that someone had highlighted that is supporting artists coming from Korea with their visa process. So that's at least a resource that I can offer this group. Um, does anyone else have any experience with visas or being international, going internationally, and maybe being an intern or an assistant. Uh, were there any other questions in the chat? Or any of the other vehicles for questions to be collected? Does anyone still on the call want to just pop in and ask another question since we have time?
While we're
All
waiting,
right.
I wanted to ask Frankie, Lincoln Center in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to know the Associate Chief of Staff, Corey Dunn?
Oh yeah.
Corey and I worked together at McCarter
Oh,
in New Jersey.
Corey's great.
That's so funny.
But yeah, truly the world, it gets smaller every day. And like they're all good connections. Like I have not at any point been like, oh no. So thank God the community is generally great.
Yes, agreed. Well, thank you so much to our panelists. I really appreciate your time and energy. I would also love all of you to hop onto our Google Docs and add your information in there. We're creating two Google Docs, which I'd put into the chat. One of them is internship and assistantship opportunities. And then the second one is questions I should have asked ahead of time or things I wish I'd known ahead of time. So panelists, participants, any of you, if you think of something afterward, please put it back into those Google Docs. I will be turning those into a shareable file that I'll be sending out to everyone who attended today. And this webinar will also be available online along with links to those live documents. So hopefully this will serve as a resource in years to come for people about how internships and assistantships work. So again, panelists, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the time. And Frankie, thank you for facilitating. Thank you to my wonderful co-committee folks from the Ideas Committee. And just one last thing. If you enjoyed this, tell your friends. We're having another one of these regarding summer stock specifically, January 9th, same bat time, same bat channel, 4 p.m. Eastern time, Cue the Future, Navigating Summer Stock Opportunities. And that will be registered through USITT as well, same process as this one. So again, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to stay on and ask those personally. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And thank you for sharing your time and your afternoon with us.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
all. It was
you.
lovely to meet you.
Yeah,
Feel
Nice
free
to
to
good.
reach out if you're in New York and when you are one of you is in New York, so let's hang out.
Yes, it's all about the network. It's all about the people
Yeah.
you meet. Yep.
I get discounts at the DGH David Geffen Hall lobby bar, so
Oh my
Ooh.
feel
God.
free.
Okay.